Boy, I'm excited about this one here tonight in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage here, the platform where all wrestling matters here, Sportswire Radio, because our guests have plenty to talk about here, where they've been and where they're going. And let's just say, you ever hear the term business is about to pick up? Well, it's going to definitely pick up, and especially when it comes to the controversial nightmare that we're going to have here to talk about, because we're going to see them in a number of different places, different states, and even maybe a couple of familiar places, and a place that always gets talked about here on this platform. And yeah, we're going to talk about it, plus maybe some IWA and maybe some Death Fest and who knows, whatever else. And I'll even have a surprise for the duo. And no, it's not going to be that kind of surprise, not what you think. I'm telling you, it'll be a good one here. But boy, am I excited here. Some would say I'm kicking the weekend off. Some would say I'm ending the week. Who knows, whatever else you want to define it. But I am excited to have these two back on here to Sports by Radio, because it has been a minute. And the last I remember, we were talking about new music. We were talking about Logan Chase. But now we're going to be talking about a lot of current events. So as I know that our guests, and I said that with here with an S, the basically emphasizing that it is time to give them then I'm about to stutter here, about to give them that introduction, because they want it, you here in the chat want it, and this is the only way we start the show off here in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all wrestling matters. So in the words of Joe Elliott of Def Leppard, let's get rocked tonight here. Get this show on the road here in style. So we're without further ado here on the Sports Report. Number one. Sports show. Some would say they're the most controversial deathmatch couple in history. Some would say they're the very best deathmatch couple in history. But ladies and gentlemen, they are simply put the controversial nightmare. My friends, how are we doing?
Oh my God. After hearing that, it never gets old. I am doing excellent.
I don't know how you have air in your lungs sometimes to hold that so long. It's epic.
All right, I know we have a lot to talk about here, but I had Rhino on here, and he was like, "Well, boy, I feel like I was gonna run through a wall with that." And Savio Vega was like, "Well, I've never heard anything like that." Then I had Doug Pinnick of King's X, who just opened for Tool a couple of weeks ago, opened up for AC/DC, played at Woodstock. He's like, "Boy, you're gonna sound like James Hetfield when you get old." And then Randy Jackson of Zebra, who opened up for Sammy Hagar right before he got that call from Eddie, Allen, Sam, and Mike. And he was like, well, almost like hadn't seen anything like that before. So I feel like the pressure every time I come on here is to do that intro. We even added like some tomahawk chants and some, entrances and everything else. So yeah, the pressure is always on when I do these. But it's been a minute. Good to see the both of you. And how you been the last couple months?
We took a good break off
Yeah,
of
the last I saw
wrestling.
you on Facebook, you were like in the middle of like something in the back. I think you were working. I watched your Facebook video sometimes, and I asked him, like, "You all right?" And I think there was one you were outside, and it was like I don't know, something was going on. I mean,
Uh, you know, the town that we live in is below sea level, and
oh God,
my little town gets flooded here and there, and
Ugh.
my house is what I think our house is like 1940s or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
Oh
very, very,
wow,
very
okay,
old.
So
wow,
it
okay.
they didn't properly raise it good enough, so my
Um,
driveway floods a little bit.
so you're one of those when it's like, okay, we get some rain in the backyard, the driveway turns into mud, it turns
Yep,
into a rain, and you gotta, if you don't have a sewer system, you gotta drain the water out and all that, all that stuff. Yeah.
good old
Hey,
country living.
Yep.
well, you know what? I'm sure that that could be a topic for another time, but I don't think people want me to turn into Bob Vila anytime sooner. Full time with Home Improvement. But let's talk about where you've been first. Then we'll talk about a lot of current events here in some places that I know some familiar faces are going to be very excited to see you in here. But for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you, Kato, and Naomi have most certainly helped build here, Sportswire Radio. Tell us what happened with Logan Chase. That was the last time I had you here. Was you were about to wrestle Logan Chase in Kansas, and what happened for the audience?
Um, you know, Went out to Kansas. Like I said before, I kicked Logan's face off. Um, but with all good things come to an end. Um, it just wasn't working out for us out there. Doing all the drive time and the windshield time, 14-hour drive.
14 hours? Jesus Christ. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, as my father would say. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. You're driving me nuts. 14 hours.
Yeah, it just wasn't panning out good enough. And,
Yeah, I could see that.
And with two kids too, sometimes.
Like I said, I hope.
And you will go on the road trip sometimes. You've said that in previous shows that the kids sometimes went with you, but 14 hours, I mean, I'd rather have root canal again.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, man, we got a lot of things to keep our kids busy. But yeah, we took a break from Kansas, and we wish them well, but we had to part our separate ways.
No, it's completely understandable in that standpoint, but that was the last match that you had, and
Yep.
I know we played a music video. We'll definitely put some of that back up on the screen and remind people. So, what has the last couple of months been like in terms of the preparation for what's about to be ahead? We have a show coming up this weekend, 2 weekends from now. You're in the ring, and then it's going to get really interesting in the month of May and June because you're going to be in two really big places. So, these last couple of months, how have you used this, the two of you, in terms of what's ahead here? Because there's a lot of big stuff involving the two of yous here coming up starting this weekend.
Just honestly, prepping for new merchandise, prepping for new
I'm going to
shows,
put the link up for that in a minute. I'm going to take care of
prepping
that.
for new shows, just staying focused and busy on my tasks that I have to do. Just trying to really drive, push the pages out there, get more people behind a lot of shows, and really just do my absolute best like I've been doing.
I think that's obviously always the challenge. You got merchandise, that's good. I think getting ready for these shows, I think that's going to be big. They're all big shows. So I think what we'll take away from going to Kansas is that now you're going to places that is going to be, I think, an almost continuing some of the places where you went last year. Obviously, All Wrestling Matters Hardcore Tournament, success you had there. Obviously, Carnage Cup, IWA stuff. And then the places where you're going now, starting this weekend, is going to basically be a continuation of the places that you went. So what the moral of the story is, now you're picking the places that you want to be, and you're putting yourself where you're not stretching yourself out to where you're going basically on a 14-hour ride, and as Ozzy famously sang, on almost a road to nowhere. I mean, literally, almost. I'm not gonna break out a chorus there for you, but it sounds like the road to nowhere there for 14 hours. So that's what the
Yeah,
moral of the story is.
yeah, it was you know, really sitting back and looking on it that weekend, we just came up with the decision to you know, take a break, uh, focus on getting new stuff, and actually focus on getting a lot of things taken care of around the house. So it
Mhm.
really helped out, and now I'm just ready to get back in the ring and whoop somebody's ass.
No, I think that's what you're going to be doing. I think that there's no question about that, and I think that that's exciting, and to be able to go back out there. Sometimes it's good to recharge the battery. Sometimes it's good to take a step back, especially with what you two do. You don't just go out there and just say, "Hey, let's throw some punches. Let's just stomp each other for a few minutes, and I'll throw you into the turnbuckle. You throw me into a turnbuckle." No, you usually throw your opponent into some objects. Naomi mixes it up. Maybe it was a good thing that you took these 2 months off. And yeah, I got a Mountain Dew also, by the way. Yeah, I got a Mountain Dew also. But that's a good thing because it's going to prepare you, get you ready for what's ahead. We're excited about that. And let's go right into it. I'm going to put the poster up for it here this weekend. This is your return to action for the first time in a little over 2 months. And I can't believe it's been over 2 months. But
Yeah.
obviously, it's almost like I can't believe it. Not butter, but or yeah, well, I'm trying to, a career in stand-up comedy. It's obviously not going anywhere. But
Yes.
well, who knows? But right now I'm here on Sportswire. We're going to see you here coming up in Mount Vernon, Illinois, in the Mount Vernon Rumble here coming up on March the 29th. Front row seats are only $12. General admission is $7. So talk about what we're going to see you here coming in for.
Well, we actually had a year off from the show.
Okay.
We didn't have a lot going on in the storyline side, so we decided to venture off, and it helped us out. But
Okay.
we went back and we figured out a time, and we're gonna figure out actually who the hell I want to beat up. There's two people in mind.
All
Um,
right.
my former tag team partner who betrayed me, stabbed me in the back.
Oh.
Um, he's number one on my hit list in the Rumble, and who would be the promoter?
The promoter.
Yep,
So okay. So
the
why the
bar.
promoter? I understand number one, but number two, what's up with
Well,
that?
let's see, because I don't follow rules. I
Yeah,
don't
well, that I
like
knew already. I've known you a year, so yeah, you've been here
I
several
don't
times. I
I
got that.
don't like how somebody can sit there and when you're reaching for that brass ring, take it away from you just because they want to, and just because they think that their group decides that they can have reigns and control over the show, and who gives a shit about other wrestlers. Well, newsflash, I'm gonna whoop your ass too in the Rumble.
This one seems like it's just more. It's personal. It's more than just going out there and beating up a promoter. You want to set an example here.
Well, I want to set the example, and I want the fans to come back and enjoy the show. They've been banging down their door, trying to get us back on that show and fit us in the schedule. And the fans might be very surprised on what happens in the Rumble.
Well, I mean, obviously that's going to be exciting, and I would also think now again, without spoiling anything, Naomi's going to be at ringside, and maybe Naomi will be watching to see who she might like to mix it up with. Is that a possibility potentially?
I mean, I definitely will be out there, and we definitely have a history with the show. We know I like to get into trouble sometimes, but just I guess have to see. You'll have to come to the show and check it out.
And it's a good history. Just personal issues that I feel like I need to address in the Rumble.
Right.
and this is it's kind of a spoiler alert, but
Yeah, don't. All right, all right.
But I don't even know what time the show is going to start. I'm just going to go there.
Actually, it's funny you said that because you gave me the poster, which is on your Instagram page, and it just says 521 Perkins, Mount Vernon, Illinois, front row, $12, general admission $7, which is great. I mean, price is definitely affordable. Bring the kids, or have them cover their faces when they're watching. You do some things, but I know the day. I don't have the time. I mean, but maybe just get to the building at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and just wait around, and they'll let you in. I guess. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna sit in the parking lot and
Close enough.
figure out when I want to jump in that rumble. Considering that my contract wasn't signed up again, it's still waiting. So I'm just gonna make a surprise entry, and I'm gonna pick and choose my own number.
You're gonna pick and choose your own number, and you're just gonna wait until they eventually open the doors, and you're just gonna go and break through it. But we don't have a time. But you're just gonna camp out in the parking lot, probably at the crack of dawn until they open the doors, and you'll show up and you'll just look to beat everybody up. Maybe they won't have this show then because you're just gonna be there early. You're gonna be hand in hand beating everybody up, and maybe they won't have this Mountain Vernon Rumble, I suppose.
Well, I mean, there's just quite a few workers that let's just say that when you stab the man in the back, beware what you wish for.
That is very painful. That is certainly very painful. And I know that the chat is here, and I'll say hello to some people here in the chat, in particular when we get to another company at the moment. But obviously, the Mount Vernon Rumble is Saturday, and Naomi and Kato will be there, but we don't know what time this will be. But if you'd like to buy
I believe it starts at 7.
Well, usually it's either the doors open at 5, bell time is 6 o'clock, or doors open at 6, or bell time at 7. So usually it's one of the other. Maybe worst case scenario, you get a 6:30, 7:30, but these shows never start at a 30. They know we start usually at the even start of the hour. So yeah, I would say just get there. If you get there at 4 o'clock, you want to camp out in the parking lot, you want to meet Kato, as long as you're not going to get in the way of him in the Mount Vernon Rumble, you'll probably be safe to get in there and get to the league. But what a great deal. $12 for front row. $7 general admission. Like I say all the time on Sportswire, where are you going to find a deal like that? So that's going to be exciting. And let's talk about merchandise here before I get to the other things here. So we got some merchandise. I know our old friend, the Deathmatch Juggalo, Brian White, is also on Big Cartel. A lot of the British guys are on Big Cartel. So how exciting is it for you to have merchandise now?
Well, I mean, I've always had my own merchandise, but I never had it advertised on a web page. And this was actually a really good deal. The Deathmatch Avengers, approached me after doing Brian's and Brian White's, and we went for it. We came up with the design, and we love it. And it's a great deal. In fact, to the fans that are listening right now, at the end of the program today, I will be donating one of my previous t-shirts to a winner who picks the number 1 or between 1 and 50, and whoever gets that number, you get 3 chances. Whoever gets that number actually gets the shirt.
Well, I would just say that this guy, whatever you do, don't let him win it, because if he wins it, I mean, there's a more than very high likely possibility you're sharing a locker room with him in like 6 weeks or 7 weeks, whatever the calendar is. So I would say that make sure you don't have him win it, but I'm sure there'll be other people that'll pop into this chat real soon. But if you want to buy some merchandise, I'm actually going to put the formal link up here. But if you're here right now on Instagram, or before I put that link up, I'm going to put this link up right here.
Get the new t-shirt.
You got to get
match approved.
You got to get it. And Big Cartel, I know my friend Radu Bulat is on bigcartel.com and some of my other guests in the UK. And that's run by, I think it's Vinny runs it. I think it's Big Cartel, right?
Yep.
Vinny does Brian's merchandise, right? He's done a few of the other guys. I think Jesse Daniels is through Vinny. So definitely check that out there. Yeah. And don't let James Taylor win it. Actually, maybe let James Taylor win it. James, I think you shared a locker room. Actually, you shared a locker room with James, so maybe that'll be.
Yep.
Maybe you might be sharing a locker room with him again in a few weeks. You actually might. I mean, for all we know. But,
No, I think it's a good thing for us to cross over and pump up the UK side of the deal, and the UK pump up our side of the deal. It's the best of both worlds, and I'm actually looking forward to getting booked and getting over there to the UK.
Well, that's very fascinating because, as I think a lot of people know, I have been covering UK wrestling for 4 years, actually more than 4 years now. And like, where do you want to go in the UK? I mean, do you have a promotion in mind? I mean, there's probably a very high likely possibility I'm going to know that promotion or two. Or let's not say anything on the air, but you really do want to go to the UK.
Yeah, that one of my biggest things in my wrestling career that I always wanted to do was get to the UK and wrestle a couple times a year. Plus I want to go and see the castle.
Yeah, you know what? That's a lot of people, want to go see that. And by the way, look at this surprise. Your merchandise link. Ta-da! I found it. I was, I told you I'd do that. But obviously, yeah, some individuals are obviously getting some ideas about what number they're going to pick. And that is where you can buy it. And just so you know, that is £30 UK. So obviously it'll translate to a different number here. But if you want to buy some merchandise here, you can see it's deathmatch approved. He's the controversial Nightmare Kato. Yeah, he's controversial, unlike that other guy, but we'll certainly not mention that other guy that's controversial, who Kato also shared a locker room with. But Kato's here with Naomi. I got a surprise for the two of them in about 10 or 15 minutes, so we'll definitely give them that. It'll be a good surprise. It'll be a good surprise. No, Anthony's not coming on to have the battle of who's more controversial. We're just going to give these two something. Well, one particular person especially, but we'll give them that in a little bit. But that's their website. Yes, I know this site very well. I've known this site for a long time. I've done a lot of stuff with British wrestling, and there's a lot of different people. Of course, Brian White. I spoke to Brian a few weeks ago, and Brian said he would come back onto sports. So we had a great conversation. He had a lot of different people here. So check it out. Vinny does a great job, and that stuff there. So we'll take that off the screen. I'll get to the chat in a few minutes. But, you did give me a poster for something else coming up in the month of April, and that was really interesting to me. So I want to talk about that with you two. And you guys are going to be in Indiana. No, not any ideas for Mr. Parsley, but you're going to be in Evansville, Indiana. And you're going to be in a Fans Bring the Weapons main event. This sounds like an Omen Black match in IMF, but no, it's two different things. But this is 2 weeks from Saturday, and tell us what we can expect. I mean, this is definitely right up your alley, Kato. Kato, did you book this? Did you promote this? Did you and Naomi set this up or what? I mean, let's talk about it, though.
Well, so my idea was go big or go home. And this year, I just wanted to get the biggest, best matches I possibly can out of any promotion I work for. Mm-hmm. So when I approached Total Chaos, I said, hey, what do you guys got that's coming up that's exciting that I can actually have fun with and run the ball for a while? And they threw this at me, and I said, book it. I'm game. Let's do it.
Interesting. I mean, this is right up your alley. I mean, are you going to probably have fans that are going to be,
Actually, a couple of my fans that I gained here in Southern Illinois actually are traveling from Alabama to Indiana to wherever I'm at just to see me.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting.
I'm actually looking forward to it. Her name Her name is Genesis. Her dad's name is Rob. They're my super fans. They're really cool. I actually go with them from time to time to GCW and hang out with them, and you know, to get to do that with a fan and share fun times with them and celebrate their birthdays, and they can come and hang out whenever you're home and they're okay to come to your house. I don't suggest wrestlers bring fans to their house, but these two.
Well, you do know that Owen Hart was famous for basically, instead of going to hotels and going into these luxury places to live, or even with the other wrestlers, he would go and sleep at fans' houses. I mean, there are some wrestlers that have done that. I mean, I guess you're taking your life into your own hands, but maybe you're saving travel cost, I suppose.
Well, that and his daughter is a very big wrestling fan.
Okay.
She absolutely loves ICP. So when I get a chance to hang out with them, it's really cool. It brings me back to when I was a kid and I was falling in love with wrestling, and it just makes me feel good about myself to see somebody younger enjoy what I do.
That's exciting. It's very exciting. And April 12th, it's a busy time for Kato. He's got a bunch of shows coming up here. We're going to definitely get to several more of them. And this here is going to take place in a Fans Bring the Weapons match. That'll be in April the 12th. That'll be in Evansville, Indiana at the VFW 1114 for Total Chaos Wrestling. Card is subject to change. Veterans and kids under 5 are free. That's a great thing. All tickets are $12. Doors open at 6. Bell time 7 o'clock. And Naomi and Kato will be a part of this. We're excited to talk about it, and a lot to talk about with them. And obviously, I see some people here, which we're going to get to. But, I think it's a good time before I get, I know you have a show on the 2nd and 3rd. We have a fest. I'll get to that. But obviously, I think maybe it's time for me to I have something for it's really well. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm gonna give it because I think I kind of am owed to give this to at least one of you, because I know I haven't done it yet. So I know that this will actually be pretty cool. This will be a pretty cool thing. So actually, I'm gonna put it up on my screen now, and I see some people here. I'm gonna get to the chat in a minute. I actually, for whatever reason, I can't export this. Now I can. Okay, technology is a beautiful thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but since I do have something I want to give on the screen, I'm going to finally do that here, especially for those that are listening and watching here in prime time. And I see that we have somebody else here that I'm going to make an announcement for in a minute. But let me put this on the screen because I have a surprise. I think somebody's going to like it. And I want to put it up here right now because technology is finally working. So for those, it's finally working. It's a beautiful thing. But for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, congratulations, Naomi. You're in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame because, I realize I have to be equal opportunist. And Kato's in there. And, with all you've done in the ring, you've done more stuff than some of the other people that come on here. And I think it's about time. So congratulations.
Well,
and
thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate it so much.
We'll send you the certificate. And, considering some of the things you've done with kendo sticks and tables and thumbtacks, I don't want to certainly join the people you put through those things. So I figured, you know what? Let me pull a string or two. Let me see if I could make a phone call and put you in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. It was very tough. It was tough to get the person, on the line to, put you in the Hall of Fame. It was a tough vote. It was, but I was very, very happy to pull a string and be able to put you in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. So it was tough. It took a lot of, teeth pulling, a lot of, heads over the back of the head, but you're in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be part of that.
Well, we'll definitely. I'll send you the certificate when we're off the air, but
Awesome. Thank you.
we'll do that. But Obviously, if you are here on Sportswire Radio, and we are here with Kato and Naomi, and you want to follow them, you can check them out. They're on Instagram, they're on YouTube. Let's get to the chat here. The people want to talk to you. I want to get to them. I want to talk about something that's going to definitely be big here. But before we do that, let's go say hello to some people. We're going to say hello to the person that's here first, Zilla, as always. Zilla's always here. Well, actually, no, she wasn't first yesterday. Soldier GP was first a few times in the last week or two, and Zilla is here. She did want to say hello. All wrestling matters. My buddy Remy Roberts from yesterday's show, who's doing a great job. The Cajun Cruiser on the cut. Yep, he definitely made the cut. And you remember this guy? You remember a guy named Drake Golddraggy? Remember him? Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Wanted to say how you doing. That's what he wanted to say.
How you doing?
Well, I hope he's doing well. It's been a while. Remy didn't like the tomahawk chant, but he was laughing. And then there was one of the guys, when you do your numbers between 1 and 50, whoever guesses that number close to winning, this is maybe the guy that you may not want to win that merchandise because you're going to be sharing a locker room with him in several weeks. We're going to get to in a minute, Mr. Justin Parsley. But he did want to say this, though. Omen should watch more of this guy to learn a thing or two. You know Omen Black very well. And, Mr. Parsley's maybe on your side. Maybe he's giving Mr. Omen Black, oddly enough, some advice. I mean...
Well, you see, the one thing I've always kept in the back of my head was, you may not like the people that you wrestle, but you sure better respect what they can bring to the table. I never doubt anybody. Whoever can stand toe-to-toe with me, hell, I give you all the credit in the world.
Well, Mr. Parsley is probably going to be opening the door in the lockers for you when you guys come in. But we'll get to that. We're going to definitely get to that. Yep. Hello to Remy. Hello to Drake. And hello to Justin. And he did want to say good evening. Thank you for being on tonight's show. It looks like a Hall of Fame episode. He didn't even know. And he didn't even know that I was going to do that for you. And I was speaking with this man before I went on the air because he's the PWF champion. And obviously, I own 1/3 of the company. Why, I have no idea, but I apparently do. But he did say it looks like a Hall of Fame episode. And it almost sounds like he's trying to be, the Johnny Carson to the Ed McMahon here on the Tonight Show. Maybe he should take over. I did announce my retirement, but nobody wanted me to retire yesterday. I actually announced my retirement last night on the show.
You can't retire. You can't.
They didn't want me to. Nobody did, so I unretired.
You will never retire, Tom.
No,
you will always be this greatest.
I don't know about that, but we're going to plug you on Instagram. We're going to put YouTube up in a minute. Speaking of somebody who shared a locker room with James Taylor, who doesn't like Mr. Parsley, or he sort of likes him, but he did say, "How's it going to you?" And James was in the South, maybe getting. Actually, it was funny because James yesterday showed up with somebody else you shared a locker room with for a minute, Dalton Skull. You shared a locker room with Dalton Skull, and for whatever reason, James Taylor confronted him, and I'm talking to James Taylor about it on Saturday. So, that was bizarre, and I still don't know why, but apparently James Taylor will tell me on Saturday. And somebody shake that Laffy Taffy. Well, maybe maybe he had too much Laffy Taffy. Has anybody ever even had Laffy Taffy? I mean, I don't even think I've ever had that before. Yes, that's where you can buy merchandise for Kato. Check it out. I want to say hello to my friend Athena from Pennsylvania, who watches our shows and checks us out. How's everybody doing? We're doing good. And obviously, Zilla would like to see you in the Riot in the Ring 2, which has been a topic here. The Riot in the Ring 2 has been announced. I mean, unless I'm missing something, so far I haven't seen you guys in the promotion posters, but who knows, I suppose.
I'm ready to come back out to the East Coast, man. I actually miss Massachusetts.
Why not? Massachusetts is an interesting place to be. I mean, I would say Massachusetts, yeah. Why wouldn't anybody want to go to Massachusetts? Other than the Riot in the Ring, I think there's a lot to do there. Yeah, I would say.
Well, I mean, the Lake Erie was really cool. That was one of the coolest things that we did was on the way home, we stopped at Lake Erie, collected some rocks, and chilled in the water for a little bit.
I had a relative of mine who you're gonna laugh. He one of his jobs was he worked here in the zoo, the Staten Island Zoo, and then what he would do, like his interest or his hobby was like to collect, like he would collect the seashells. You know, you go on the beach. That was like
stuff. Yes.
yeah, that's what you couldn't talk to him about anything. Sports, wrestling, music. But boy, he could tell you about every shell on the beach, every seashell. He could tell you what color, how they got there, what their history is. That's how he was, you know.
That's cool though.
Yeah. Yeah, he was you know, an interesting fellow. Is an interesting fellow. Remy Roberts sends me his reel, but we're on Sportswire. I'll view it when we're after the show. And thank you for that though, Remy. But this guy I'm gonna get to. I'm gonna get to him here. We're gonna definitely talk about that poster in about 5 or 10 minutes because I know some people are waiting for that. There are some people here waiting for you to talk about that. And I am waiting to talk about that, but we'll do some more promotions. YouTube for the controversial ones, new music. Obviously, check out the music. It rips, it rocks, and check it out. And speaking of people, they're going to be here in a couple of weeks to go into the Sportswire Radio Hall thing with his group, Natural Selection. Jason Storm, the Puppet Master. He is the ROEW World Champion, and he is here scouting out you two. And Soldier would like to say that the Not All Wrestling Matters World Champion has arrived, but we're going to get to the IMF. I promise you I'm going to get to that. Saying hi to a lot of mindless sheep in the community. Soldier is at the top of the list of mindless idiots. Yeah, I'm not going into that crossfire. As Ray Vaughn famously saying, I am not getting in there. But let's keep the houses a rocking here and stay focused. Hello to Jason. Storm, I saw your boss last night trying to get Omen to take a belt from you. Yeah, there was certainly a back and forth between Mr. Taylor and Mr. Black, and I'm going to leave that at that. Obviously, Mr. Storm doesn't like James Taylor. You shared a locker room with James Taylor. What a small world wrestling is, and he calls him an idiot. And but if you want to not be an idiot, go follow Kato and Naomi on Instagram. And also, Storm, show up to the IMF. He's been there before, but I don't think he's going to give you advice. You don't need it. Yes, congratulations, Naomi. Definitely well deserved. You know, let me put Naomi's Instagram up, and then we'll go back to the promotion of what you guys are going up to. But if you'd like to follow Naomi, she is on Instagram as well. Let's go for support those that I'm stuttering here through my voice. But go and check out Naomi on Instagram. Give her a follow. And you'll avoid a kendo stick to your head and chest. So, yeah, it's true though. I mean, I'm just saying, it's definitely true.
Light tube too. You never know.
True too. Light tubes, thumbtacks, barbed wire, you name it. Yeah, definitely. Naomi mixes it up. Check her out on Instagram. Check it out, and definitely you won't regret it. A lot of stuff, photos, posters, wrestling stuff, a number of different things. Check it out, but don't get any ideas. Kato's right next to Naomi. Just say it for the people in the chat. I have to put it out there. My mother sings in a band. When my dad was alive, he played the drums, and he'd always make sure, like when the people would watch it, he'd go right up to her. Just, yeah, I'm married. I'm married. He was a big man, though. Me, not so much. But actually, I'm tall. But it's not about me. We're having a good time here on Sports.
Yeah, mine comes with weapons, so
there you go.
Pretty good.
Yeah, okay. So you know what? We're going to take this off the screen. I'm going to put you up on the big screen. Let's talk about, before I get to what I think some people are waiting for you to talk about, which I know is an exciting thing for me as well, because I'm probably going to have you here right before that actually takes place here on the Rage in the Cage. But let's talk about, first of all, where you're going to be the week prior. And it's a pretty cool thing here coming up, and I want to talk about it, especially with you two, because it's going to be Brett's Death Fest coming up the 2nd and the 3rd. It's actually a 3-day show, but it's the 2nd and the 3rd, where you're going to see a number of different things here. So let's talk about this show coming up and your involvement in it, and what can we expect from you two?
Well, my wife has always been a metalhead. I love any music whatsoever, any genre.
You know that I've spoken to Vinny Appice, who played for Ronnie James Dio and Black Sabbath. He hasn't come on yet, but I have spoken to the man. So, you know, and I've been featured in blabbermouth.net, which is the heavy metal version of Rolling Stone, not once but twice. They know my name now. I'm known in the heavy metal world.
But with our love of music, this couldn't have come at a better time.
Yep.
They approached me and asked, hey, what do you think about doing the show? I said, let's do it. Fucking heavy metal music and wrestling, I'm in.
Yeah, why haven't they thought of this before? I mean, to me, it's a brilliant idea.
100%.
I don't know how it all came about, but when I looked on the website, it is advertised like crazy. I mean, so many death metal bands. Some of them we both might know.
Okay.
And it's incredible. I mean, they have a 3-day event.
Wow.
And then actually, it's a no ring, I believe, no ring death match.
Well, Jake and Gabe last week at NEW had a no rope barbed wire match of those two crazy cats.
But I mean, I've been a part of Mud Show already.
Yep.
And you know, it's a thrill for me and my wife to sit there and enjoy music and get to do what we do best.
That's exciting. I mean, that's really a cool thing. I mean, I think that's something, and it's the Arkansas Death Fest. It's Brett's Death Fest. It's going to take place. It's actually May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, but the bands and the wrestling is going to be the 2nd and the 3rd. I believe it's a Friday and a Saturday. So it's really exciting stuff. I mean, this is really cool, right up, I think, my alley. And I would imagine the people that are going to watch this, they're out the alley as well. And I mean, and you're going to get a chance to meet these bands as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's to meet some of the people that we knew from Wisconsin. Good. Nope. That we knew from Wisconsin and we saw at the rave there. Growing up, I mean, my cousins were in a death metal band, so
oh wow,
it's going to be very cool, and we're just excited and thrilled.
That's really cool. I mean, that's really exciting. I mean, so this is going to take place, and it's really in a little over a month. So you got to go get your tickets. You got to go out there and have a great time. And there's nothing like music and wrestling. And you get to see a match, and the bands are playing. And one stage, the wrestlers are going to have a match, and the other stage or the other setup. And I think it's a great idea. I mean, some of these bands are really, really good, and they're all great, but some of these bands are more known than others, and it's an opportunity to watch some of these different bands and for a couple of days, and it's almost like the Ozfest of wrestling here.
That's 100% what I was thinking too. I feel like it's almost like getting a treat out of it. Like we get to perform and we get to wrestle and have all of that amazing fun, and then come down and relax and get a bunch of music also, like right there with us. Like it's amazing.
I don't think it was that long ago. It was at the end of last year, a couple months ago, Mickey Knuckles was involved.
I have been talking about Mickey Knuckles every week because she's in legit alternative wrestling now, and I have all their wrestlers that come on here. So Mickey Knuckles, I feel like I'm talking about every day now.
But I watched a show that they did in the bar, and it was heavy metal music, and her Necro Butcher, they were going to town.
Wow.
It was fucking a great show. So
wow.
I'm looking forward to doing the exact same thing.
That's exciting. Boy, that's exciting. I mean, I got to talk to Blabbermouth to talk about this show. I got to get Blabbermouth to cover it, because I mean, I've been on Blabbermouth twice. I mean, maybe we should get Blabbermouth to put an article out there. Who are some of your favorite bands? I mean, I think that's kind of a fun question. I have to ask.
Goodness. Oh, my list could be like I'm down the line.
Well, Joe Starr had his wrestling list, by the way. I was surprised Joe Starr didn't have you on his list, Kato, but his list was like 45 minutes long. So I don't think it'll be as long as Joe Starr's.
Just don't
if I just spewed off a couple, like my top,
give me a couple.
Like I have multiple tattoos for Marilyn Manson. Like top favorite since I was like 12 years old. I think that was the first.
Yep.
Smells Like Children, I think, was the first CD I ever owned.
Yep.
But like I've seen Metallica a couple times, just classic, amazing. To Rob Zombie or old White Zombie stuff is really cool.
ECW was White Zombie. A lot of they did stuff for the Impact Players was White Zombie. That was they used White Zombies. It was Lance Storm used it. Yep.
Just a lot of mad love for almost any like 90s, 2000s like rock, alternative, new metal stuff. Like that whole genre is just
nice.
It's got so much energy to it. Like it can bring you out of any mood, and I'm mad to have music running through my veins. No matter what's going on, you can find something to go with it.
I agree. That's great. Wait, this is Kato. What's something? Is something I'm missing, or?
No, I actually my phone was dying out, so I ended up putting YouTube on so I can read the comments.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
Well,
he's
then
literally got you on our TV.
Oh well, you know what? I think I don't. I'll spoil it. I'll break the fourth wall. Justin's baby was actually doing my intro a few days ago, which was funny. But I'll get to the point since your phone is dying. And
No,
that was his.
that
Mine
was my
is
phone.
totally
Her
fine.
phone's good.
I think I have some people here that do actually want to hear you talk about this. This is probably what I think some people on social media eventually are going to get your reaction to, because kind of slipped in here. It looks like you're finally coming to the IMF, and well, you want to talk about a match. Let's talk about a match that's gonna, let's just say, I only break the ring, but it'll probably break the internet. The controversial one, Kato, against the IMF hardcore champion, Mr. Ox McCoy himself, the man that is bound in blood, reigns in blood, and sends all of his messages in blood. And Kato, I mean, you want to talk about you being the controversial one, Ox McCoy, who, like I said, sends all of his messages in blood. And I mean, May 10th is coming, and you're finally coming to the IMF in a match that might be the most controversial hardcore match, I dare say, and well, maybe underground and independent wrestling history.
You know, when I found out about this, the Rage in the Cage, I literally had goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah.
A chance to have another hardcore title around my waist, I'm thrilled. And to wrestle, what's the name again?
Ox McCoy. Ox McCoy, a man that he has been doing this a long time.
I had a brain fart. To wrestle,
don't worry, you're gonna see him in about 5 weeks, and I promise you won't forget his name then. Let's just put
to wrestle him, it's gonna be one hard-hitting, blood-shedding match.
That'll about sum it up. That'll about sum it up.
I think the biggest thing that I need to worry about is how to knock the big guy down and to keep him down.
Oh, let me tell you something. What this man has done recently, I've seen him in the ring with the likes of Sean Jovi, Il Drago, just a week or so ago at St. Patrick's Day Massacre, their most recent show in the IMF. Omen Black, his history with him. And I've seen what he's done to the likes of Nicholas Crenson, and certainly what he wanted to do to some fan that interrupted his match. I mean, this is a man that he has his own set of rules that he plays by. This is a man that's going to be like no other that you step foot in the ring. You've been doing this a long time. You've had a lot of success. You've won championships. You've been there in Carnage Cup, IWA Deep South, NEW. You've mixed it up with a lot of different people in your illustrious career. But this guy, he's just on a different hardcore level than what you're going to see and what you have seen, I believe.
You know, when the devil comes knocking at your door, you face the devil with a mirror and you stare him right in the eyes and you don't back down. And it's going to take a hell of a lot to beat his ass. But I guarantee you this, he's never going to feel the same after this match. I promise you.
Well, you know what? I've got management from the IMF here, and they have something to say to the two of you. Kato, Naomi, if Ox can successfully defend, that's right, successfully defend his hardcore championship at CyberSlam, then when you both will be locked inside a steel cage with weapons, and the hardcore championship will be on the line. So you heard it here first. You're going to be locked in a cage with weapons, and that hardcore title is going to be on the line. So, I mean, it's going to literally be a rage in the cage between you and Ox McCoy. And it's going to be you and him locked in that cage with weapons galore.
You know, I'm looking back on it and thinking about it. The last time I was in a cage, I fell from the top of the cage down to the ground through a table. But this time, it ain't gonna happen because I'm gonna take whatever weapon I have. I'm gonna use all my strength and all my might, and I'm gonna knock that big bastard down inch by inch. And at the end of the night, when he gets done getting his ass whooped, bleeding to the depths of hell, he's going to wake up the next day or next week and realize he just got his ass whooped by Kato. And all said together with the fans and them cheering behind me, you ain't got no chance, guy. You ain't got no chance.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a big crowd there in the Palo Community Center. It's taking place May the 10th. But Ox is a guy, unlike a lot of people that come on here. He doesn't say much with words. He doesn't come on here and tout what he's done. He doesn't come on here and let's just say some other people that are considered controversial that you shared a locker room with quite a bit, Kato, that certainly go out when their name is heard. They come on and just burst out into almost a John Cena-like rant. No, Ox is one of these guys that he just does it in the ring. He just goes out there and he's going to tell you by putting you through tables and kendo sticks and light tubes through your head and just doing what he needs to do to keep himself on top as the IMF Hardcore Champion. So he's a man with really few words, but many actions.
You know, I got a lot of surprises in store for Ox, but you know, silent but deadly maybe. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't just talk about it. I bring it.
And we know that. Oh no.
And if by God's eyes, if I don't beat him with all the weapons I can see, the next thing he's gonna get is stunned.
You know what? I didn't expect that one. I mean, it looks like Kato's bringing a taser to the Palo Community Center, and we're not that far away from May 10th. Boy, ladies and gentlemen, we're only just over 6 weeks away from what could be the most hardcore match in not only IMF history, but maybe an underground and independent wrestling history where that IMF Hardcore Championship is on the line with Ox McCoy and the controversial one, Kato, with Naomi at ringside. But, you know, I have to ask you one more thing on this, Kato, because these House of Wolves, they are literally a pack of wolves. You've got the Midwest Express. You've got Omen Black, the IMF World Champion. You've got now Reverend Solomon. And you've also got a man that you shared a locker room with, who's a part of the House of Wolves. A man that knows you like a book, and you better believe that individual is telling Ox McCoy everything about you, every little trick you have up your sleeves, every little thing you do. And I'm talking about that man who calls himself the most controversial figure in wrestling history, the real deal Anthony Steele. You know that he's called Ox and said, Ox, the way he says it, Anthony Steele, as we all know, he calls you up and says, you got a minute, and that minute turns into an hour. And Ox is a man that's just going to sit there and listen. And you know that Anthony Steele is going to be watching this match with eager anticipation, and he's going to do everything in his power to tell his House of Wolf brother, Ox McCoy, everything about you, and he may even just be watching that match, and who knows, he may even find a way to slip a weapon or get himself involved in this match to make sure you, Kato, don't walk away out of the Palo Community Center with a championship that you would value dearly to your decorated career in that IMF Hardcore Championship. Oh, the irony. How does it involve Anthony Steele? Well, you just found it. You just heard it. And Kato, what are you going to do knowing that Anthony Steele, a man you shared a locker room with, is telling Ox McCoy everything about you to make sure you walk away empty-handed, and he may even personally get involved and interject himself in this match to controversially make sure you take the L.
Listen, Anthony Steele, he's just paperweight. You know, let me break it down to you real quick before we move on to this. Anthony Steele is a softie. He ain't got the balls. You know, the last time I met him in the ring, he actually wussed out and cowered in a corner of the ring like a little coward.
I remember that.
My wife would beat the dog shit out of him if he ever stepped up and actually accepted the challenge. So I don't have no worries about Anthony Steele.
You're not worried about him telling Ox everything about you, every move you've done. You're not worried about that.
No, man, because Anthony Steele doesn't know that much about me anyways. You know, I keep a lot of things privately when it comes to certain people. And he was one person that I never really talked to. And I'm going to tell you this, Anthony, you even get close to that ring and close to that cage, you will get your ass tased and hit with a light tube and a kendo stick by my wife.
You know there's a lot of people out there that secretly would be saying, boy, Kato, I hope you do that. Boy, Kato. You know, there might even be a House of Wolves member or two deep down that might be saying, you know, maybe Anthony should get tased. Maybe, just maybe, Anthony should get tased there. So, you know, secretly and maybe even openly, there's going to be a lot of people, Kato, that would be on your side if Anthony Steele finds a way to interject himself in this match and you bring out that taser and tase Anthony Steele right that well, he'll go from a wolf to a puppy dog.
Just heed my words, Anthony. Don't you even dare approach that ring, or you're going to deal with the likes of Naomi.
Oh my God! Maybe Ox McCoy shouldn't want this match after all. Just when Ox McCoy maybe thought that the House of Wolves had this all figured out, Anthony Steele was going to tell Ox McCoy one by one how Kato systematically decimates his opponents. How one by one Kato makes sure he gets the job done and walks away with that championship. Well, not so fast. Because Ox McCoy, it looks like you could have another thing coming because Anthony Steele, if he even tries anything here in this match, Anthony Steele very well could be getting a tased. And let's just say there are a lot of people out there that have been waiting for that moment. And maybe Anthony Steele should just focus on doing what he does. As he famously said, that's what I do, and try to keep his own championship because let's just say Anthony Steele might have shared a locker room with Kato, but he doesn't controversially know Kato and Naomi as much as he thinks. And speaking of that, and I told you, Kato, this would get the chat going. And Justin Parsley has said lots of controversy in Ohio these days. There's a lot of controversy in Iowa. No question about that. Kato is here, and Anthony Steele is going to be around. And you know what, Parsley, you know what wasn't controversial? They are the new IMF Tag Team Champions, the Real Monsters, and they are maybe here to be friends and befriend you and Naomi. And Mr. Soldier GP does want to say, Kato, do you need someone to watch your back here in the Palo Community Center, especially knowing that Anthony Steele could be lurking, and he could certainly have it in his interest to have you walk away empty-handed and take maybe the beating of your career at the hands of his House of Wolves brother, Ox McCoy?
No, you know, I don't need anybody's help because the way I look at it, I have enough help right here.
But Anthony's not going to, that's going to make Anthony think twice. I do think that will make Anthony think twice. He's got his own issues to deal with. He's got his own House of Wolves problems. And, Anthony always certainly is the center of controversy, the center of attention, and maybe in a good way, in a bad way. And, maybe that'll be a good thing for you, Kato. So you'll be able to concentrate on this match and you'll focus on what would mean to you to win that IMF Hardcore Championship. And I know we're going to be talking about that here as Kato. Ladies and gentlemen, to recap it here, Kato will come to the IMF for the first time alongside Naomi, and he will be squaring off with Ox McCoy for that IMF Hardcore Championship. Rage in the cage. And you know what I always do for every IMF show? I donate not one, but 2 tickets. So if you're out there, you want to go out and watch this match along with a slew of others, this is your opportunity because yours truly, even though I can't be there, I'm here in New York. I'm going to give you an opportunity to go out there and watch the show, watch what Ox and Kato do. Naomi's going to be there. Anthony Steele will be there. I mean, boy, I would love to be a fly on the wall when Kato and Anthony Steele are back in a locker room together. Boy, they're going to certainly have a lot to talk about there and their history. And boy, I'm not even going there, but, certainly I would love to be a fly on the wall on that. Maybe James Taylor will show up again. And boy, that's always interesting, but certainly you are going to want to go out there. Check out the IMF on YouTube. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're going to have all the IMF stars here before that. And Kato is making his debut. I'm excited about that. But, Kato, I got one more place to talk about with you on. I'm really, really excited about this one because it's a big deal for you to be in this one. And it's coming up in June. It's the middle of the summer. And it's June 14th. Well, right around. It's almost the middle of the summer. You kind of want to say it. But we're back here, IWA Deep South, WrestleMania here. And a lot of names that a lot of people know, and it looks like you're going to be a part of it. And talk about what's ahead here, my friend.
Well, what's ahead is a big, big show for Deep South. I'm in a 4-way tables, ladders, doors, and chairs match. Bobby V, he's been in the deathmatch scene quite a long time now. Yanni GQ, he's been around the block. They're Milwaukee boys. They don't ever like leaving the city. So when they step foot into the countryside, they're going to get a country ass whooping. And it will be the first time that me and Jay Blade ever go face to face with each other. Now, me and Jay Blade rep Deep South. I respect Jay Blade. I've seen his matches. I've seen what he can do. We might, have to talk about maybe teaming up on the Milwaukee crew and whooping their ass a little bit. But come hell or high water, whether I win, lose, or draw, I'm just there to whoop their ass.
What a big show it is. What a big, big venue.
Look at the card.
I was going to say Johnny Swinger, a man that, I don't even know how he does it. Certainly the legendary Necro Butcher.
Yes.
I mean,
It'd be great to see
I don't know
Necro.
how Necro does what Necro does. I mean, if anybody saw Facebook recently, I mean, Necro pretty much laid. I mean, Mike Jackson's got to be like 900 years old. I don't know how he's still doing it. I mean, you got Ricky Morton, who certainly my friend Rad Dad Radley Belmont wrestled. You mentioned Jay Blade. Jasmine St. Clair, yes, don't get any ideas.
Nope.
It was funny. Brian Woods, who you always talk about here. Mickey Knuckles, I talk about like every day now because he's a part of legit alternative wrestling. So a lot of POR talent here. And then you got this guy, Tommy Dreamer, this guy that Jimmy
the ECW original.
The man that, your, I guess, sort of nemesis, Jimmy Controversy's wrestled, Mr. Tommy Dreamer. I mean, and I'm sure he's going to wrestle. I don't think Mr. Dreamer is going to be at the autograph table taking photos. Tommy Dreamer is going to mix it up here. I have no doubt about that.
We were talking about this, and that's somebody who I idolized growing up watching ECW.
Definitely.
His great run with Raven was
absolutely
phenomenal. And
for sure.
All that stuff that I watched, learning and growing up, I take that to heart. And he's one of the guys who I'm honored to be on the show with.
Yeah, I mean, for him, a man of this magnitude, you look at Ricky Morton and Tommy Dreamer as two examples, two men that, are iconic in this sport. I mean, men that
we met Ricky Morton and Gibson in UPW.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've been a part of that. Yeah, that's a good point.
And Necro and I had known each other back from Milwaukee.
Yep.
He's a genius, a very smart man.
Yep.
Mickey Knuckles is great.
Mickey Knuckles, I'm telling you, Naomi, you were awesome, but Mickey Knuckles is on like another level. I mean,
no, 110%, nothing but mad love and respect for
Mickey Knuckles. No, I mean,
totally.
I've been watching her, in our promotion. We work with Law, and I've seen her in POR. Obviously, Jesse Jesse's wrestled her. Jesse Daniels, I'm talking about. But I mean, just Mickey Knuckles. I mean, she could probably take out like 2/3 of the people that come on Sportswire.
Oh, sure, 100%. Yeah, no, I would never fuck with Mickey.
Yeah, Mickey's like another level.
Very much.
She is to deathmatch wrestling what ECW meant to the fans. She is a living legend. She learned from the best. She goes toe to toe with some of the greatest. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what she can bring out in this year's pay-per-views.
Yeah, this is just, I mean, what an incredible show to be a part of. This is going to be June 14th to 2025. It's WrestleMania, and it's going to take place here at the J. Craig Smith Community Center. It'll also be on pay-per-view on Title Match Network. General admission is only $20. You've got meet and greets. You got Fan Fest, concession stand, Hall of Fame ceremony. You got bell time at 6:30 p.m. and just a slew of big names. Kato's going to be in action. Jay Blade. It's Kato and Jay Blade. You're going to see Johnny Swinger. Man, that's been doing it forever. Johnny Swinger, I've seen him in ECW, at the tail end of ECW. TNA was a huge part of there.
Yep.
They got a brief cup of coffee in WWE. I want to say like he was on like Velocity and a couple different things here and there. Wendell Cooley is a man a lot of people know of. Bryant Woods. I mean, it goes without saying in deathmatch wrestling. I mean, Necro Butcher. I mean, I don't know how Necro Butcher does what he does. Action Mike Jackson, a man who's like 900 years old and is wrestling like if he's wrestled better now than he did like 40 years ago. Ricky Morton, I mean, I've spoke about him with Rad Dad, Radley Belmont. And then there's Buff Bagwell, who's become a podcast star. And actually, I've spoken to Buff Bagwell. Spoiler, I've actually spoken to the man in real life, Buff Bagwell.
We texted him a while ago, I think around Christmas time. And, he was down here in Southern Illinois right after his accident. And fortunately, he couldn't work, but it would have been me he worked with. It would have been a great match, but we still worked around it. I'm glad he's doing great now. I think he's rehabbed. And I'm looking forward to seeing him again. And I think this, if I'm not mistaken, Brian Woods did post that this is his last year.
Brian Woods. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't think Buff Bagwell's wrestling.
No.
I think Buff Bagwell's wrestling days are pretty much behind him at this point.
But I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's Brian's last year.
I think I did see that on Facebook. I think somebody shared that. Yeah, I think I did see that. I mean, but what he's put his body through, I mean, for him to, guys like him and Necro Butcher, for how long that they've lasted. I mean, I had Hardcore on who wrestled Madman Pondo a few years ago. I mean, there are just certain people like, I don't know how they're going out there and doing it. Action Mike Jackson's another example. I mean, this man, I saw him wrestle Trey Miguel like a year and a half ago, and he's like doing stuff that people half his age couldn't do. And then you got Tommy Dreamer, who still drives to independent shows. He literally drives, like you talked about your 14-hour drive. He does like 6-7 hour drives. He was saying it like 9 months ago. He was on a podcast somewhere and talking about that he had done drives. He still drives to shows, still goes out and wrestles them, and wants to be there, wants to be a part of independent wrestling. And that's quite an honor to have him there, and what he's meant to ECW and meant to just a lot of us that are here and what we do for this sport. And then you got Buff Bagwell. I mean, I've spoken to Buff Bagwell once or twice. I haven't brought him on, but he and I spoke. I mean, he would definitely know who I am. But I hope Buff's doing well. He certainly went through a lot. A man that definitely went through a lot. And I agree. It's a stacked card. And congratulations to the two of you. And congratulations to Naomi and joining the Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much again.
And Zilla, I think that's an interesting one. You never say never. I do. Well, like I say, never say never. I actually have to shout out a promoter, by the way, that hooked me up. My good friend Darrow Johnson's been listening. Darrow is the man that has booked the likes of Vito Fratelli. He has booked Alpha Zoe, who just wrestled Alex Shelley before he left WWE. He's wrestling Jonathan Gresham coming up here, who we've seen in Impact Wrestling, AEW, Ring of Honor. He's wrestled and a whole list of other different big names. And obviously, I want to say thank you, Daryl, for your support. He's trying to actually get me a major guy that is very well known to come onto Sportswire. But let's see what that happens. But thank you, Daryl, for your support. Yes, Mickey is definitely somebody that could potentially go into the ring. I think Mickey, I love the Riot in the Ring too, but I think Mickey Knuckles is not going to be at the Riot in the Ring too. And I think that I love the obviously Riot in the Ring. We're supporting it here, but I think Mickey Knuckles isn't going to be there. I would have to say with pretty much certainty that Mickey is not going to be there. And
I wouldn't necessarily count her out though.
Yeah.
She shows up and hey, wherever.
But I think Mickey is one of them that is getting paid to show up. That was
my
point. I think Mickey's on another level right now, and going to
most definitely.
I mean, I agree with you. There's always a chance, but I would humbly say, with the utmost respect to the Riot in the Ring, that I don't think that Mickey's going to be. But like I said, you never know. You never know. But also I will plug Remy where you can watch a couple different things. First of all, you want to support Naomi and Kato, check them out on YouTube. Definitely do that. You can check out their YouTube page. New music's up there. You can see some different happenings. Check it out there. You can also check out the page here for some feature stuff, previous matches. You want to support the IMF where they're going to be wrestling on May 10th. I will put that up in a minute. We'll put merchandise links here up before everybody goes. This is the IMF page. You're going to wind up seeing eventually Ox McCoy and Kato for the Hardcore Championship, Rage in the Cage. You're going to see it here on the IMF YouTube page. Give the gang a follow. I'm donating 2 tickets to the show. I always sponsor every IMF show, so you're going to see them there. They've also got merchandise, so if you want to buy some merchandise, I see a lot of people here in the chat. I will give you that opportunity to check out their page right here before we sign off. Big Cartel Products. You can see a bunch of different people. Brian White's been here before. You want to buy merchandise in any form, you got a bunch of different things here. Check it out. It's deathmatch approved. You got Kato's merchandise. I'm telling you, check it out. It's great. It rocks. And get your shirt. And also, Kato's doing something after we sign off that you pick a number 1 to 50, let him know, and do that there. So we'll take that off the screen. But a lot coming up. Anything else you guys want to talk about or promote before we sign off and such? I know you have a busy next few months here. You got a lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, just trying to stay focused and positive on the shows, and fans just keep plugging our pages, keep up to date on all of us. We extremely love feedback from the fans. It helps us out more.
For sure.
We also have Carnage Cup 15 in October. But we have a lot of stuff that we need to concentrate on, and
we're got a busy next few months, man. You got Saturday Mountain Vernon Rumble, you got Total Chaos Wrestling the 12th, you got Brett's Death Fest the 2nd and 3rd, you got the IMF Rage in the Cage on the 10th, and then you got WrestleMania the 14th of June. You got a lot going on here, dude.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm still trying to stack the card. I'm still trying to collect them and go to different states, and because it's one thing on our bucket list that any state we go to, we always try to stop and see historical landmarks. Mm-hmm. So that's one of our goals as a family, just so it's not just a.
But that's a cool moment, I think as a family, I think that's. I know you got the kids and when they're going to some of these shows. I think that's a cool thing. I think that's brings you together. You have those family family memories as members of the family. I think that's exciting thing. I think that if you can do that, that's really cool. I mean, I wish I had those memories. I think a lot of people don't get those opportunities. So to be able to go out and see the country and go to these different places, whether it's Indiana, whether it's Iowa, whether it's Arkansas, whether it's again Tennessee, whether it's Alabama, whether it's different parts of Illinois, to go out and be able to see those things, that's really cool. I think that gives you a bond and it brings you together as a family. And I think that's really cool,
especially because during the down times and when shit gets stressful at home or with kids or school or work,
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure to do something other than wrestling on those
Sure.
weekends.
Yeah.
You know, our kids get to see us in action in the ring, and then after that we go and do family fun time. So it brings them back down to reality. Um, it makes them, happy and honored that their parents get to do this and travel and sightsee.
No, that's really cool because it shows them that, you know what, it's worth it. It's worth all the sacrifice. It's worth what you two put your bodies through, that you get to go out and see these places, visit them, explore. And I think
Yes.
as a family, that really brings you all together. And yeah, not every family gets that opportunity. I know Justin Parsley is one of these guys that travels. He gets to, I think, do that with the IMF shows. And, I've seen Anthony, obviously do it. He had his, significant other going to the shows with him. And I've seen other wrestlers with their families do those things. And I think that that's really cool. I mean, like I said, my one thing, if I could have do-overs, we didn't really do that. Growing up in Brooklyn, it was like, yeah, we didn't really, my parents we didn't go anywhere because, you couldn't afford
Yeah,
it.
I
Couldn't
was
be,
but Brooklyn is, New York itself is such a
yeah,
wonderful
but you know
place.
what? I would have liked, we would
It's
have listened,
different
trust me,
living.
we would have liked to have gone on vacations more. We didn't, it is, what, listen, I had a roof over my head. Now I could buy, a state, but, growing up, I think those are things you'd like to have, had a do over on. But, look, you live and learn, and I'm happy. You're happy. But I'm excited for you guys. You're going to go to some great places. I'm very
Yes.
excited about May 10th, especially. I'm very excited about June 14th. And these are some really cool stuff. May 2nd and May 3rd is exciting. Obviously, I'll see what I can do to get some more coverage with that. Certainly, April 12th, Total Chaos Wrestling. And coming up here this Saturday. So I'm going to pass the baton to you two for some closing thoughts. I'll put up Instagram as well. So anything you both want to say, and congratulations again, Naomi, and joining the Hall of Fame. It's about
Thank you
time.
again
You were,
very
you were going
much.
to probably put a light tube up my head and up my throat. And, well, Jake wanted to the other day from one of my intros, so I might as well reward people. But if you got closing thoughts, I'll let you have the floor, and I'll put up your social media while we're doing it.
I guess, to be honest, whether you're whatever you do throughout your life, throughout your days, and you got family and you still struggle, you got mental health issues, or you're depressed, always stay positive on the love of a family member or the love of your family, because at the end of the day, that's what keeps you going. No matter what kind of bullshit you may screw up in your life, always make sure that you love your family, because they're the ones that stick by your side through thick and thin.
Yeah, that's a good advice. You know what? That's a good advice. My dad said that one time to me. There'll be nobody that'll care for you in this world other than your family. And I was like, I didn't really think about it. Then until like years later, he's dead.
Yeah,
So it's all
yeah,
good.
that
You
I
didn't
mean
think
the
about it.
world
You
the,
didn't
the
think about it.
world's a shitty place. I mean, if you're not strong enough, it'll kick your ass down to the ground and bury you. You
Yeah,
just have to keep moving, and
that's it.
and depend on your loved ones.
That's it. You know what? And I think that that's a good message. Despite you two being, some of the most hardcore deathmatch couples in history, you gave us a wholesome Partridge Family like message. The rival leaving team. Well, don't judge a book by its cover. Remy loved the message. Thank you, Remy, for that. My buddy Silas Walker, who's going to come back on here in a few weeks. Silas is one of my. I haven't seen Silas in a while, but I'm going to have a lot of more coverage with him here in a couple of weeks. He enjoyed the message. Yeah, I think it's a good message. You know what? Enjoy family, enjoy all the sightseeing, and take everything in. You know what? And I think that's a good message for all people. Like I said, I really think if you have a chance, you're a wrestler out there, you're traveling. Stop and maybe go to a new place to eat, or maybe go and check out a new place. I know Silas's buddy Brandon Caselli, who he's wrestling in another promotion. That's what he does. He has a vlog and he shows his experiences with his fiance, and They go out there and they show the world. And a guy like me from Brooklyn, I haven't seen what Maryland looks like, or Illinois looks like, or all these other states across the country. So I'm watching through everybody that travels. So I always find that fascinating because, like I said, I'm from Brooklyn, so for me, it was just like that was it. That's all we had was the neighborhood. So to see everybody go out and sightsee, I think that's a really exciting thing. And yes, fight for you and do that. And
and I will say too, like we aren't like crazy well off money wise. Like anyone can, especially for like all of the wrestlers or even just little things. Like when we travel for wrestling, we just make it a point that instead of stopping at McDonald's, like let's go somewhere that we don't have in our state. We can't eat from somewhere that's here. If it's at the late night gas station run, sure. But beyond that, like, let's go somewhere different and try something from here. And we're spending the same amount of money, but getting something that's totally unique that we've never had before. And it's like the same with our random stuff.
Good message. And I think that we have wrestlers that I know Silas travels. He would relate. He travels to different states. And I know that Soldier Soldier definitely knows. Soldier and Justin travel. James travels. So I think for them, they'll appreciate that message because they're traveling, and they get a chance to do those things. So if you're a traveling wrestler, try something different, get a chance to go out and explore. And, it's something that, you'll remember for a long time. And those memories.
Sometimes you find really cool stuff, random little spots or food spots. Like you're like, damn, this is impressive.
Well, you know what? I mean, like I said, I wish I did those things, but I'm here on Sportswire, so what can I say?
Hey, Tom, you're gonna have to take your show on the road for
you know what? I
2 weeks.
gotta be honest with you. I got like 11 lights in the background. I got like 4 different things that said it's impossible. I actually did one show years ago from my buddy's house in the neighborhood. It was like a disaster. So I'm going to stay here. And Silas did want to tell you that gotta hit Cookout in the Carolinas. That's a place he goes to. So thank you, Silas, for that. Remy wanted to say Bojangles and Boosie's are in Louisiana, so I stop at them every time I leave the state. That's another.
There you go.
So there you go. So we're getting advice. Definitely, we'll do a travel show sometime. But they have to go. They have to get up. They have kids for school and everything else to prepare for. They have a show to travel for. So congratulations, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you out there in the ring, especially for the IMF WrestleMania, Total Chaos Wrestling, Brett's Death Fest, and this coming Saturday, Mount Vernon Rumble, and by the way, October. I'll have you on before that. And congratulations. Thank you for all you do for our sport. And I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. And definitely can't wait till you meet Anthony Steele again in that locker room. Boy, can I not wait. And Anthony I'm sure will respond to this probably like 2 days from now. So but thank you everybody for tuning in. I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be here with my buddy Anthony Finkel of the band Rust Eater, and he'll talk about his band's new music. If you want to follow Naomi, she's on Instagram. Kato's on Instagram. If you want to check them out on merchandise, check out their merchandise. Check out the IMF on YouTube. They're going to be there coming up on May the 10th. You want to check out some of their music, some of their previous matches, that's their YouTube channel. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively, and literally, all wrestling matters. If you're here, like, share, and follow us, and subscribe to the interview and the channel. And until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Or the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. Thank you.